Hello everybody, this is Gregory with 5-Minute Catholic Apologetics, where 5 minutes of your time may get you to the divine. Today we're going to talk about the false prophets. Now before I begin, let's start with a prayer. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritui Sancti, Amen. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto, secutor in principio et nunc et semper et secula seculorum. Amen. All right, so littered throughout the New Testament, you see false prophets. And I'm going to quote a verse from Matthew, but you see this in Corinthians as well. And I just think it's so appropriate because we are surrounded by false prophets all the time. And these are separate than the Antichrist and Antichrists, as I should say in plural. But the false prophets are in your life and you're exposed to them every day. So let's look at Matthew 7:15. Jesus, beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. You will know them by their fruits. And it keeps going. So who are the false prophets in our life today? Pretty much everybody. I mean, let's look at supranational entities. So certainly Hollywood, who I've jokingly said their motto should be corrupting the youth since 1928. Hollywood, of course, is spewing out detritus, certainly since they got rid of all the codes back in the 1960s. Now it's just, what are they pushing? You know, there's that saying, we live in a world now where every vice is a virtue and every virtue is a vice. So if you look at back in the day for hundreds of years, all the things that we consider vices are now cool, hip, do them. Self-gratification, fornication, drunkenness, drugs, all the sexual identity issues, all these things. Oh, cool, do it. And then all the things that were virtue are now vices. Oh, you're a virgin. You're a loser. You're abstemious. Oh my God. And that's the world that we live in. So you look at Hollywood as a whole, it's horrendous for us. Horrendous, the message that they spew out. Social media, look at all the trashy women and men on Instagram and all these other different places. Just utter, complete trash. Just utter trash. What message are they sending? They're sending horrible messages. They are false prophets. And unfortunately, these are kind of the easy ones. So like academia is pushing postmodernism, moral relativism, anti-Christianity, all these cultural Marxist tools. They've been doing that for a good 40, 50 years. So, I mean, these are obvious false prophets. These are, most of you guys are like homeschool your kids. I'm going to stay away from social media, Hollywood, publishing, academia, and all these different things. You just know. But there's false prophets in your life. And think how many people fell for the false prophets. How many people do you know in your life who used to practice their faith, but then they met the wrong man or met the wrong woman? It was like, you believe in Christianity? You believe that God actually exists? Oh my God. Or they're dangling the mammon, right? Oh, I can make you rich if you date me or marry me. Oh, Christianity, your life will be better with me. Just believe in my atheistic, agnostic views. And how many people are like mesmerized, right? Literally like mesmerized. They just go away because they're thinking short-term and myopic about the pleasures of today instead of your long-term salvation. I mean, this is echoed all through both the Old Testament and New Testament. I've mentioned how John, 1 John, and in James, those who love the world hate Christ. They were saying this 2,000 years ago, and we're more of a cesspool now than certainly in the peak of Christendom, which is probably like 13th century in Europe. But we are in a cesspool. So you look around, and the false prophets are everywhere. The major cultural influencers in our life, academia, publishing, television, all these things, they've so inculcated so many people into believing. Like Lenin has that term, useful idiots, right? You just indoctrinate a couple of people and let them do all your bidding. So they've indoctrinated all these people who are now coming after you and your children and your loved ones, and they've fallen under the spell of these false prophets who try to sell you liberation, right? Oh, you believe in that Christianity stuff? Oh, you need to be enlightened. They sell you a false bill of goods. So many people fall for it. And people in your life are all getting picked off. They're all getting picked off by these false prophets. So what can you learn? Be vigilant. And in short, If anybody in your life is encouraging you to sin, and you know the sins, you can go to Galatians. They list them right there. There's plenty. Go to the episode we did on 4 scriptural verses that tell you that fornication is wrong because they enumerate other vices: drunkenness, carousing, gossip, enmity, strife. So if anybody in your life is encouraging you to do any of those things, they are false prophets. If anyone's trying to get you away from your faith, they are false prophets. Get behind me, Satan, and get them out of your life. Because you need to think long term. Your house needs to be built on a foundation that's not sand, that's actually of strong concrete, so to speak. And that's what you need to focus on. As disciples of Christ, we know we're going to go through tough times and we're going to be persecuted, but we have to think long term and stay away from these false prophets. Guys, post in the comments. Let me know what I missed. Mention some false prophets in your life. I'd like to hear from you. Hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. Share with like-minded people. And as always, take care, God bless, and pray.